The North Carolina Senate passed its $65 billion budget today, sending it to the House. It was mostly a party line vote, with only 4 Democrats crossing over to join all the Republicans. Democratic leadership in the Senate called the plan a failure that would hurt working class North Carolinians and say they hope the House makes changes. Republicans say they do expect some negotiations. And part of that budget proposal includes the creation of North Carolina's version of DOGE. In this case, it's called the Division of Accountability, Value, and Efficiency, or DAVE. But it does not mean the approach would be the exact same as what we have seen on the federal level. I sat down with State Auditor Dave Bullock, whose office would run the division, about how this would work. He says they would go agency by agency, institution by institution.
We want to take a look at where we can find efficiencies across state government to not only save money, but to be customer service focused and provide the taxpayers a real true return on investment.
How do you want DAVE to look different than DOGE from a public perception point of view?
I've been really clear that I want to take a structured approach with respect to efficiencies across state government. And so what that looks like is, from the state auditor's perspective, it looks like taking a data-driven approach. You know, one of the things about being the state auditor, when we put out an audit that has recommendations, it's very important that we give our recommendations based on solid data and analysis.
So based on that empirical data, essentially, will it be up to the individual agency head to make the final decision based on your recommendation?
It'll ultimately be up to the legislature, because legislature ultimately is the appropriator of dollars. But I will share that report with the executive branch, with the governor, and other members of the Council of State.
This includes positions?
It would include full-time positions. It will include programs. It will include square footage, how we're using space, how are we using vehicles, how are we using equipment.
Redundancy.
Redundant programs, potentially. You know, really, we need to let the data drive the recommendations. So it's not always about cutting dollars. Sometimes it's about how you allocate the resources that you have.
How long will this take, do you think? Or is this an ongoing thing?
We anticipate it, an initial report being delivered on December the 31st.
And Auditor Bullock also says auditing software purchased for his staff is now saving work hours, like 7.5 hours a day, and is an example of what they'll be looking for. He also said if the DAVE Act is passed into law, staffing will include current employees with the auditor's office and additional hires.